flesh.
Come on now, don't got all day.
Death is my power to wield.
Not on my watch.
Well, if it isn't the traitor herself, let's get this over with.
Feast on flesh.
All right, how's it going, guys? This is gonna be like this is mostly just gonna be a PoB guide, overview, whatever. The builds are more or less the same. They haven't really changed that much. The only real difference is the cast on ignite build now just goes into crit, because crit was like the last scaler this build could really get into. I knew the build was going to go into crit, but I didn't know how strong crit was and how much crit chance versus crit damage I wanted and all that. So I was really waiting for PoB before I made a crit variation of this. I wanted to also see if we could really do a maybe a cast on crit comet build thing, but the issue with that is a level 30 comet costs 1,000 mana to cast, so I don't think that's reasonable to try to do with a mana pool. I think you kind of need to sustain that with Pyromantic Pack. So yeah, I think the cast on crit might be dead. I think you need to go into Pyromantic to do a cast on anything in Demon Form, just because Demon Form makes everything so expensive. I mean, you could not get spell skills on your amulet, and then the spell cost wouldn't be as bad, and maybe there's something there. Because, I mean, as you saw, the damage is way higher than it needs to be. You don't need to be able to kill Xesht in, 5 seconds. Like that kill I did on Xesht, I even fucked up. I dodged and I didn't need to because he was already frozen. I just sit there and hold Incinerate and he died. But, yeah, you don't need to kill bosses in less than 5 seconds. I mean, it's nice. It's nice not having to do any mechanics, but you don't need to. The thing with this is I put up, we got a bunch of things and points in different crit nodes now. This path here now goes up through the middle to get crit. And we lost all my AoE nodes, or not all of them. We still have these two because these are really high value. But we lost Reverberation and Royal, which kind of makes it a little less comfortable for mapping, because your Hexblast doesn't hit as large of an area, and then the explosions from the Hexblast aren't as big. So I might end up taking some points out of crit just to make the mapping part a little bit nicer. Because, I mean, this is really the only way you need this much damage is for pinnacle bosses. And if you really cared, right? And this is probably something to do, is just take some points out of some crit nodes and put them into AoE. And then if you're going to go and save up a couple pinnacle bosses and then spec back into all the crit nodes and then just go do the pinnacle bosses and then spec back for mapping. Because respecking is not expensive right now. Maybe in the future when they bring the price back up, that will be prohibitive. But currently it's fine. So it's definitely something you can do. It would make your mapping experience much better. I mean, as you saw in the T18 that I did, it's fine. There's no problems with it, but it's definitely noticeably smaller. And Comet now has concentrated effect, so it doesn't hit as big of an area. So I guess we'll look at some skills. For the most part, everything's the same. We moved considered casting off of Comet and put it on Hexblast here. PoB says this doesn't work on cast on ignite, which it might not. It says you sports skills that you cast yourself. So, I mean, I might be inclined to agree that that doesn't work, because I mean, you're still casting cast on ignite, but you're not actually casting cast on ignite. It's just kind of happening. So I don't know if it works or not on Comet. If it does, then I'll probably move it back, and I don't know what I'll do with concentrated effect. But I don't know. For now, this is fine. And then, yeah, like I said, concentrated effects here. And then we have super critical as well. Impetus is just completely gone because we don't need it. It's not important. One of the biggest issues with this build that I was having, and I'm sure other people were having this as well, is Comet was not doing enough damage and was casting too often. So if I just sat there and full channeled Incinerate on a boss, Like, you were doing more damage to yourself than your flask could heal you for. So you had to stop damaging the boss like every so often and let your flask keep up. But other than those changes, I don't think anything else is really different. Solar Orb doesn't have any supports anymore because I put them on Incinerate, because Incinerate doesn't have whatever it had before. It had something. Oh, it had Concentrate Effect. Yeah, that's on common now. But otherwise, it's all pretty much the same. Oh, I put Persistence here instead of Strip Away because we don't need the extra exposure. And this should make all the debuffs longer, although I don't know. It doesn't say it does on the tooltip in game. It says it makes Withering Touch last longer. I don't know if where it makes the crit expose longer, because the tooltip in game doesn't even talk about it. Don't know. Maybe it's does nothing. Maybe we shouldn't have this at all. I'm not sure, honestly, but maybe it helps. Who knows? You can't right now. You can't add any support gems to this stuff, to passives, to whatever passive skills you gain through the skill tree. So Demon Form here doesn't have any, and then on the leveling build, Infernal Hound also doesn't have any, but you can get them from the like the Mobalytics or something. Just get it from somewhere else until this is updated. Speaking of the leveling build, I added the leveling build, right? So 64 is the lowest level I have it set to. And then I added some like kind of like steps along the way as you're leveling, just as like a small guide if you want to follow something to figure out what you want at each level. You don't have to follow this, obviously. You can do whatever you want with this. Level it however you think you need. If you need mana regen, you know, get some mana regen. If you need whatever. Do what you will. And then let's go look at items. We have so with the leveling build, I just threw in some random, like, not real items, right? So this is a helmet that has high regen roll, and then I said try to get some mana, and then I left a bunch of prefixes and suffixes empty. For this stuff, you should find gear that just has, you know, good resists and some energy shield and stuff like that. I'm not going to put that specifically on the gear because I don't want people to be like, oh, I couldn't, this like really high rolled energy shield was, you know, 20x sold and I couldn't afford it. Okay, so find something that's slightly worse, right? Just figure it out. These are more like the kind of like required, I guess. Even though the mana is not required, but at this point you're still using mana, so you need mana or you're gonna have issues like mapping. But yeah, these are quote unquote like required things you should be looking for. And then 2 regular Mings uncorrupted, and then a Ghost Wraith uncorrupted. Right, everything's qualitied, etc., etc. The item portion, it's not too bad. I already did this because it's my second recording because I'm an idiot. If you're playing on PC, you can Control C an item in game, and then if you Control V it here, it'll show up. So you can put your whole inventory or your equipment in game if you want. I already did this, right? You can see it. It's right here. But then you just add to build. So now I have 2 of them in here. I'm gonna delete them. But yeah, so that if you want to add your items particularly into the game, you can do that. These rubies that I have in here are just mine. I didn't make fake rubies for the cast on crit build. I just put mine in. These don't have to like this. They just need to have life regen and max fire resist. That's it. Mine are all 13% or higher, and then 2%. The For Nothing diamond actually works in here. So you'll see I have a For Nothing diamond. It's socketed where in the tree? I think it's here, right? Yeah. And then you can actually get the little zone down here. And you can see this whole Hail Heart tree is allocated. Speaking of the tree, though, a lot of this stuff doesn't work. This is the first, this is the first iteration of this, so it seems like Infernalist kind of got the shaft a little bit, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. Like this critting immolation just does nothing. This 30% crit damage bonus is like a lot. This is a lot of damage. And when you allocate it, you just get no damage from it. But it is a lot, so we're going to leave it there. Demon Form doesn't work at all. There's no way to have it recognize that you're using Demon Form. So to get around that, I just added here the effects of Demon Form, right? 6 to all levels, 25% cast speed, and then this is 1800 increased spell damage, which is Demon Form at 100 stacks. It's like halfway to if you can get to 200, which is pretty reasonable to be able to get to 200 Demon Form stacks, especially in a cast on crit or cast on ignite build. So you should be pretty late game at that point. But yeah, the biggest thing was the spell skill levels and the cast speed. So yeah, you can like turn some stuff on and off. Like this actually matters a little bit for a couple of our talents. I have this set to 10, even though then shock I have at 30. I don't know how high our shock can get. Maybe it's like, I don't know, 20. It doesn't matter that much. Really what matters is just how high can we scale combat. This is really all I'm using this for. And then, so on items, on the cast on crit, I don't have my items in here. I mean, I do have my items in here, but you can ignore that. I just have some generic items in here, some stuff that you could look for. These aren't like the best items. You can see down on the resists with the cast on ignite default setup. I mean, we're not resist capped. I also added this cast on ignite ingenuity setup. So if you want to buy an ingenuity, this belt is crazy strong. You can use it on any character you have, right? So I have a monk, which I've never shown anybody on on the internet, but I have a monk and this character, right? So I can take this ingenuity and I can equip it on whichever character I'm playing at the time. This build is just absolutely insane. So if you can get one of these, I recommend it. If you do get one, you can take off one of your Mings and then wear another rare ring. And with this, you can definitely cap your resists, right? Because you can get a all resist on the ring. And then if this were to be a prismatic, I would have even more resists, but whatever. This is just like a junk ring I bought for like 1 or 2 div or something. It was pretty cheap. If you want to make items, you can just hit the craft item button. Let's say you want to make an altar robe, right? And then you can just add the prefixes here and suffixes and all that. You can use this to theory craft. I'll probably do this for mana stuff to see if you can even play Archmage. I kind of doubt it, but you know, whatever. You can do it this way. Number of sockets, 2 by default. I don't know why it defaults to 3. 3 as if it's corrupted for another socket, etc., etc. You can try if you want to run not a Ghost Wraith. If you're running double ingenuity, right? You can run 2 Mings and then get rid of Ghost Wraith for something else. And you'll see you'll have 24 life. Your life is extremely low, but you don't have good energy shield and your resists are crazy. This is wrong. There's something wrong with the resist right now. This is incorrect. This should actually be, cold resist should actually be 53. For some reason, if I do that, it fixes it. I don't know why. So yeah, your resist will be pretty bad if you try to run 2 Mings. You kind of need the extra ring here for a all resist roll. And then if you go over to calculations, there's a lot going on here. This looks very intimidating. A lot of it kind of we don't care about. This whole right side here is all like defenses and random shit that who cares, right? And this is like if a boss, how much damage you can take, which again, who cares? The big thing is just right here. This is how much damage something does. So we can check Hexblast, right? It says DPS 128,000 DPS on Hexblast. Average hit is 85,000. And then Cast and Ignite, Comet, you know, average hit is 77 to 115. And then you can go over here because we have Echo, it repeats twice, right? And then the area effect goes up on the repeat. And then this is what I was talking about with the mana cost, right? This is level 29 because this build has a +2 amulet. So it's 900 mana to cast 1 comet. At level 30, it's 1,000. But you can see 2 comets, quote unquote, is 538,000. This is wrong. At least against that Xesht, it was wrong. Because I was definitely hitting that Xesht for like 4 million a comet. But yeah, there was a big discrepancy in damage on that Xesht versus the T18 boss. The T18 boss is higher level. Maybe it has more resists. It also was delirious, so it had a damage reduction to it. So I don't know. Maybe the higher level of it gave it more resist. Actually, no, isn't Xesht 82? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what the damage discrepancy there was. Why I was hitting the boss for way less than Xesht. Not sure. They both. I think I even had higher Demon Form stacks against the boss. Not sure what's going on there. Someone who knows the game mechanics better than me could tell you. But yeah, I think that's it. I'll put in some notes here probably just to like tell people, hey, you know, the starter gear. This will probably be mostly toward the people who are new and just playing the game and stuff. You know, the starter gear doesn't have all the affixes. Look for this, and this while you're buying gear. But yeah, I think that's about it. If you look at nodes, right, it'll tell you their like actual damage increase and stuff. So this is why I wanted to wait for this for making the crit variation of this build. But that will be it for this little guide here on how PoB works. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope you have fun out there playing dropping some comments on people's heads, and I will catch y'all later. See ya.